Let me try that again. You will hear of wars and reports of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for these things must happen. But the end is not yet. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes from place to place. All these things are the beginning of labor pains. This lays it out pretty plain, doesn't it? Of what's going to take place come the end of the world time. But note that it says, don't be alarmed. Why aren't we supposed to be alarmed? What does the verse say? These things are going to take place. They must take place. So don't be alarmed when you see them. And we combine that with what it says in 1 Peter, or in 2 Peter, that these things are going to take place, and you've got these scoffers, because they're saying, you're talking about these signs, you've had these things happen ever since time began. But look at Matthew 24, verse 8 again. All of these are the beginning of labor pains. Those of you lucky enough to have those, can testify that the first one is startling, and they keep on coming. And they don't just go away immediately, do they? They keep coming, and they intensify, and they get closer together. You know that it's getting close to being over by how intense they are, how close together they are. And here Jesus is combining that thought with the end of time and all these things that take place. They are like labor pains. You will know that it's getting close. You're not going to know when it is, but you know that it's getting close because of the intensity and the frequency. So when these wars and famines and earthquakes and deceivings become closer and more intense, you'll know that Judgment Day is at hand. The books of Daniel and Revelation have a lot to say about this. Daniel lays out a timeline from his day to the mid-1800s, and then tells us that there's going to be another kingdom that will not be overthrown, and that would be God's kingdom. In the book of Revelation, it picks up upon revealing this chain of events that Daniel reveals to us, and then he adds details of the end of the story. Revelation 14, verses 6 and 7. Revelation 14, verses 6 and 7. This is going to be on 650. Then I, John, saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to Him, for the hour of His judgment has come, and worship Him who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and the springs of water. An angel, a messenger of God, when they speak words of warning and words of wisdom, don't they? What is the message that this angel delivers? What's his first word that he says? First two words. Fear God. And what are we supposed to do when we do? Give Him glory and worship Him. And who does He give this message to? The world, then, okay? Should we listen? This message must be important. If an angel was sent from God to deliver this, how do we know which God we are to worship, according to what it says here?
The one who made heaven and earth.
And that would be the Creator, wouldn't it? Okay, let's turn back to Nehemiah, Old Testament. This is going to be before Proverbs, before Psalms, right before Esther. Nehemiah chapter 9 and verse 6. Nehemiah 9 and verse 6. This is on page 262. Here we read, You alone are the Lord. You made the skies and the heavens and all the stars. You made the earth and the seas and everything in them. You preserve and give life to everything, and all the angels of heaven worship you. Wow. Who's it talking about? Does that sound like our Creator? Does it sound like the Creator that made things? Yes or no? Okay. Just want to make sure you're still awake. So, it says there that the angels of heaven worship Him. He is the Creator. When I was reading this, my Bible gave me a cross-reference. And it told me to turn to Exodus 20, verse 11. That's going to be on page 10. 20, verse 11. There we read, "For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and everything in them. And then He rested on the seventh day. That is why the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy." That was taken out of the New Living Translation, in case you can't find those words. Exodus 20, verse 11. "For in 6 days the Lord made" what? "The heavens and the earth, and the sea, and everything in them." Where are these words found? What's the context of what we're reading there? That's the Ten Commandments, and that happens to be number 4. Let's flip back to Revelation 14. Revelation 14, back to 650. And verse 8. Here it says, "Then another angel." Okay, we already had one angel in verses 6 and 7. So then another angel followed him through the skies, shouting, "Babylon is fallen, that great city is fallen, because she seduced the nations of the world and made them drink of the wine of her passionate immorality." Babylon, a symbol of confusion. And it also said that she, in the Bible, when you're talking about she's, it usually means a church, doesn't it? So if you've got a confused church, what's that going to represent? A false church. So a false church that's going to be leading the wrong direction. So we need to stay away. Next couple of verses, verses 9 and 10. This is the last angel. "Then a third angel follows them, shouting, 'Anyone who worships the beast and his image, or who accepts his mark on the forehead or in the hand, must drink of this wine of God's wrath.'" Okay, this beast has something to do with that false church, doesn't it? So the mark would symbolize what? Somebody that's worshiping them, either in thoughts or in action, in the head or the hand, thoughts or in action. When the actions of these 3 warnings are complete, so is the world. So when all of these signs and wonders finally take place, what will happen on the last day? Okay, there's one teaching that says there's going to be this huge earthquake. It's going to rip open the earth and throw all the dead bodies out. Those who are wicked will lay there exposed, and those who are saved are going to get caught up into heaven. But what does the Bible say is going to happen? Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 says what? That's going to be on page 609. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verses 51 and 52. A couple of really good verses here. "Behold, I tell you a mystery." You like mysteries? God's going to tell us one. "Behold, I tell you a mystery. We shall not all fall asleep." Or in plain English, we shall not all die. "But we will all be changed in an instant, in the blink of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed." Just like that. That sounds like something cool to watch. We can get rid of this body that we've got now. Just like that, and have something new. Matthew 24.